Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. This so-called state of democracy that the Democrats are always trying to preserve and protect. The message is always, Donald Trump, stay away from our precious democracy. But what really is this precious state of democracy that the Democrats were so desperately protecting? Well, really a scam, a sham, a mirage of democracy. They lied to your faces for years, covered up a global disaster, and now they're just casually trying to walk out of the White House with a stack of get-out-of-jail-free cards signed by a robot auto pen. It's a level of corruption at a scale that we haven't seen in a very long time, and it all happened behind the veil of democracy. They played every trick, abused all power, and then ran a total scam on the people for 4 years straight, abusing executive power to protect their crony, corrupt Democrat friends, to protect their deep state operatives, even issuing some pardons to complete and absolute degenerates. And I guess the naive hope was that they'd slip these documents through under Grandpa Joe and that everybody would just forget and move on. But well, it seems again the exact opposite is happening. And now, well, the auto pen situation and the Dr. Fauci situation are at a little bit of an interesting crossroads here, as the Fauci pardon might be null and void. In other words, he might be an open legal target. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so the story obviously starts at the first initial bombshell, the allegation that Joe Biden quietly issued these mass wave of pardons and commutations that weren't actually handwritten, not even hand-reviewed, just rubber-stamped by AutoPen. And now according to the latest report, we're learning that a good chunk of these pardons weren't even approved by Joe Biden himself, but rather by one of his aides. Charlie Kirk posted this on X. Fauci was pardoned in the dead of night by AutoPen. The use of AutoPen was approved by a White House aide per the New York Times. And so allegedly this was the approval of the Dr. Fauci pardon, which didn't come from Joe Biden, but rather one of his aides, Mr. I don't know exactly how to pronounce his name, Mr. Zients, who apparently 3 minutes later hit reply all and wrote, I approve the use of the AutoPen for the execution of all of the following pardons. Yeah, not President Joe Biden, no, President White House aide. But if you listen to the latest Joe Biden statement, which likely came from another one of his aides, Joe Biden tells us absolutely not, Corn Pop. I issued every single one of those pardons.
The New York Times is reporting that former President Biden told them that he had orally granted all the pardons and commutations issued at the end of his term, meaning he did not personally sign the official warrants for clemency. Biden told the Times that he did in fact make every single one of the clemency decisions himself, but says that the AutoPen was used to sign the warrants since there were a lot of them. Now, according to the Times, Biden called Trump and Republicans liars for saying he was incapacitated and his aides used the AutoPen without his authorization. Alicia, I see you're shaking your head. Your response to this?
Well, I have so many responses to this because we're supposed to believe this at this point. It's really hard to swallow that statement there.
Give me a frickin' break. This man can't even tell you what city he's in, what office he's running for. He can't bicycle. He can't walk in a straight line if there's any sort of hazardous debris in the way, like sticks and leaves. A totally non-functional frickin' human being. But sure, absolutely, Joe Biden sat down for hours on end, and he carefully read through every single one of those cases and then gave his personal stamp of approval, like in this case, where he issued a pardon for a Chinese spy who was found guilty of crimes against children. I mean, look at this post here on screen. This is a real thing, by the way. Yeah, Joe Biden approved this guy. That's basically what he's telling you. And every other crook and criminal. Give me a break. Again, the only person I believe he actually pardoned is his son, Hunter Biden, because that's what the Bidens do. They look out for each other, and they cover up for each other's crimes, even if it means going against what you said 3 months ago when you told the public you would never pardon your son. Yeah, that's totally believable. That is, 100% the Joe Biden playbook. But the rest of these, I don't know, questionable at best, but more likely, like I said, null and void, and that gets us to part 2 of the video. Apparently, it seems as though Rand Paul is under the assumption already or assuming that these pardons are going to be considered invalid, and so he's dropping a bomb here suggesting that the Fauci pardon is no good and he wants to move forward with with a criminal referral of Dr. Fauci. Things are getting a little bit interesting here, and as we know, Dr. Fauci lied repeatedly under oath about gain-of-function research and his financial conflicts of interest.
I don't know how many times I can say it, Madam Chair. We did not fund gain-of-function research to be conducted in the Wuhan Institute of Virology.
Dr. Fauci, as you are aware, it is a crime to lie to Congress. Section 1001 of the U.S. Criminal Code creates a felony and a 5-year penalty for lying to Congress. On your last trip to our committee on May 11th, you stated that the NIH has not ever and does not now fund gain-of-function research in the Wuhan Institute of Virology. And yet, gain-of-function research was done entirely in the Wuhan Institute by Dr. Shi and was funded by the NIH. The Wuhan lab used NIH funding to construct novel chimeric SARS-related coronaviruses able to infect human cells and laboratory animals. This is high-risk research that creates new potential pandemic pathogens that exist only in the lab, not in nature. This research matches, indeed epitomizes, the definition of gain-of-function research, done entirely in Wuhan. Knowing that it is a crime to lie to Congress, do you wish to retract your statement of May 11th where you claimed that the NIH never funded gain-of-function research in Wuhan?
Senator Paul, I have never lied before the Congress, and I do not retract that statement. This paper that you are referring to was judged by qualified staff up and down the chain as not being gain of function. Let me finish.
You take an animal virus and you increase its transmissibility to humans,
right.
You're saying that's not gain of function?
Yeah, that is correct. And Senator Paul, you do not know what you are talking about, quite frankly. And I want to say that officially.
This is your definition that you guys wrote. Scientific research that increases the transmissibility among mammals is gain of function.
I totally resent the lie that you are now propagating, Senator.
The gain of function research was going on in that lab, and NIH funded it.
That is
you can't
not
get away from it. It meets your definition, and you are obfuscating the truth.
I'm not obfuscating the truth.
Senator
You are the
Paul's
one.
We're saying they are gain of function viruses because they were
They're not.
animal viruses that became more transmissible in human, and you funded it.
If anybody is lying here, Senator, it is you.
It meets your definition, and you are obfuscating the truth.
I'm not obfuscating the truth.
Senator
You are the
Paul's time
one.
is-
I'm not
Senator
obfuscating the truth.
Senator
You are the
Paul's
one.
time-
Well, it seems Dr. Fauci's little Joe Biden protective shield might have just evaporated. We'll have to see exactly what happens. Obviously, this stuff doesn't happen overnight. You know, the issue could possibly end up in the Supreme Court, and if SCOTUS rules that the auto pen spree was illegitimate, well then who knows, maybe every single one of those pardons will end up revoked. And basically what's being signaled now is that if that is the case, if that's happening, well, I think Dr. Fauci is at the top of that list. Anyways, that's what I got for you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.